welcome to our community affairs program that we call 30 Minutes here on Thunderbolt Radio and Digital. I'm News Director Steve James, and I am joined on this weekend's program by Martin Public Library Director Katie Parr, and she is here to talk about a big event that is going to be going on starting next weekend, October the 7th, and will be going on through the middle part of November. And we're very excited to have Katie in the studio with us on 30 Minutes. And Katie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Before we get into this big event that's going to be starting here in the next week or so, the last time you were in the studio, we were here talking about the summer reading program that was back several months ago. So
yes.
how did that go for you guys?
It went great. So we had a full 8-week program, and we actually had over 172 events in that 8 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So we were tired, but it was great.
Yeah.
And we ended up with 467 children in the program.
Wow.
We had, so that's children through teens, and we actually had over 100 adults as well.
Okay.
And so they read through in those 8 weeks over 1 million pages. So that was great. And then for our program attendance, we had 11,816 attend our programs. So we had great attendance at our programs. And a lot of that was in part, thanks to we had the Music in the Park events in June, and
right.
The library set up a table at those and did free crafts. And so, of course, those events were well attended, but all of our events really were well attended this summer. Our big programs on Mondays were always full, and so we were really excited for that.
You probably don't have the numbers in front of you to make a good comparison, but how does this compare to summer reading programs you've had in the past?
Our attendance was way up.
Wow. Okay.
I will say that our actual registration was down just a tad, but not very much.
Okay.
Not enough to be concerning.
Sure.
But the attendance was far above what we've seen. So we did have a lot of people register kind of at the end. We do allow people to register throughout the whole 8 weeks. We don't cut it off like the second week or anything. So next year, we're hoping to really encourage the registration. We're not sure if maybe we didn't communicate with them that they could register and they were just coming to the events. But like I said, when I say it was down, maybe by 20 or 30. It's not like it was, 50 or 100. Still a success.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds amazing. I guess you guys are already planning for next year.
Oh, absolutely. Always. Yeah. So next year's theme is adventure. So it'll be a camping, explorer type adventure. And we actually already have one thing planned that I'm very excited about. We're going to add fishing poles and tackle boxes to our Library of Things, which is people can check out. And that's going to be through actually the Wildlife Club at UTM. They're going to donate those to us. And we're going to have one day next summer during the summer reading program, probably pretty close to the beginning, the TWRA van is going to come and they're going to help people get fishing licenses. And so we're going to do that might be like a kickoff event. Of course, We're very early in the planning, but that's one thing that we definitely know we want to do.
That does sound like a lot of fun. Absolutely. We were talking just before we started recording the program that the Martin Public Library had a birthday recently.
We did. So we turned 2 on August 24th. And as a part of that birthday, we also have revitalized or reopened our birthday club. So probably 20 or 30 years ago, the library had a birthday club, and we've been interested and really been talking for a year. We talked about it at our 1 year birthday that we wanted to get it back started. So we thought the 2 year birthday was a great time to do that. So anyone for $15 donation, you can pick a book. We have birthday bookshelves. And so you can pick a book off our birthday bookshelf for anyone that you would like to dedicate it to. There'll be a book plate, a sticker that goes inside the book that has a message, donated for in honor of so-and-so's birthday by so-and-so. It'll have their birth date if you want it to. And that person gets to be the first person to check the book out. So they'll get a little message in the mail that says, this book's been picked for you and you can come check it out and you can be the first one to check this book out. And then forever and ever in our library collection, it will be in honor of that person. It's a great program. And really, we just took it and tweaked it. They really already had it kind of in a good situation, before they stopped doing it several years ago. So
wow. So the Martin Public Library has been open for 2 years now. What's the 2 years been like for you, Katie?
Well, so I've only been the director for a year and a half.
Okay.
And I always say that I was lucky and got off easy because I know that moving was a huge process.
Right.
And of course the construction and all of that.
Yeah.
So big credit to Roberta Peacock, who was the director before myself, as well as the staff who are all still there, that helped to move the library over. It's been great. I now feel like I'm not new anymore, finally.
Yeah.
And so that's nice. I feel like people know me and know that I'm the new director. And, so we've been really blessed to get a lot of grants, a lot of grant funding in that 2 years, that has helped, pay for things that we would not otherwise have been able to get. Our foundation has stayed strong. Of course, they raised $1.75 million to build the library originally, but they've stayed strong and continue to support us with whatever we need throughout. I mean, they meet regularly, and I can always reach out to them, if we have a major need or something happens, and we don't want to spend that money out of our budget, our year-to-year budget. So that's been great.
So you have a library board, I guess? We
do, yes. So the board of trustees is 7 people from our community, and they'll serve 3-year terms. Generally, they'll serve 2 3-year terms. That's the maximum they're allowed to serve before sitting out a term. And those are appointed by the mayor and board of aldermen, and they their term is July to June, so fiscal year. So this coming June, we'll have 2 rolling off. So we have 2 positions on the library board coming up in June. So if anyone's interested, they can reach out, and, I can explain what that entails.
Okay. So what does the board do?
So we meet monthly. The board meets monthly, and they're my boss, basically.
Yeah.
So I try to keep them happy as best I can.
Sure.
They meet on the 4th Monday of the month in the evening at 5:15 in the library boardroom, and those are open to the public. And we have an agenda. They have to approve the policies for the library. So basically, they set the policies, and the library staff are responsible for enforcing those policies. Me as the director, if we see any issues day to day in the library and we need to edit those policies, I'm responsible for updating those policies, presenting them to the board, and then the board will discuss and vote on those policies. They're also responsible for kind of keeping up with our finances and making sure that everything's good. So every month I present at the board meetings financial reports for our general fund, which is just our regular operating expenses, and then our gifts and grants fund, which is where we receive donations or grant money, and what I've purchased that month, and basically what percentage of the budget we've used at this point, and things like that. So those are the 2 major things that occur at every library board meeting. Is the financial reports are presented, and they discuss and make any changes to policies that might need to be edited or updated. Also, of course, we have a public comment section, so if anybody wants to express concerns or even praises about the library, they can do that at those meetings.
Okay. How many people are on the board?
There are 7 people on the board that are voting members. Okay. Then there are ex officio members, which a representative of the Friends, a representative of the Foundation, so they can offer opinion, but they don't vote. And I'm considered an ex officio member as well.
This may seem like a strange question, but where do your books come from?
Well, we have several places. One, we get donations from the citizens, which we very much appreciate. Okay. And we will always take donations of, books that are in good condition. If we can't put them in our collection, oftentimes we'll put them in our friend's bookstore, and they'll be sold, and then that money goes toward the library. Our main company that we buy books from is Ingram, and they are based in Nashville. Okay. So that's nice because they're close, and we can use we get a 40% discount using Ingram because they're a library supplier. We do get a few things from Amazon if we see a need or someone requests a book and we would like to have it quicker. Sometimes we'll order from Amazon. We get a lot of DVDs from Amazon as well, new releases and things like that. So generally Ingram is our main source of purchasing, and then donations are a huge help. We get lots of donations, and a lot of them we do put in our collection, so we're grateful for those.
The books that you buy from this company in Nashville, these are new books?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So they are, what we do every month is, well, actually all the time, we have a list on Ingram month to month, basically, and we generally purchase 1 book list a month. And so if a patron requests a book and, we can put it on the Ingram list, any staff member can do that. So it's nice because when we all contribute, there's a nice distribution of opinions and ideas and topics that get put on the list because, everybody has different interests. And obviously, if patrons are requesting a book more than once, we want to put it on the list. We can also do interlibrary loan, which means that if we don't have a book in our collection and we can't purchase it or we don't intend to purchase it, then we can borrow it from another library in our state. And that's something that the state pays for. You just have to have been a library patron at our library with in good standing for 3 months in order to do interlibrary loan.
if someone has an e-reader, like a Kindle or something like that, how can they get books from you guys, or how can they read books from you guys?
Yeah, so Libby is the app that you use. That is the state also helps us with Libby.
Okay.
And we can purchase ebooks on Libby, but then the state provides us with a certain amount of books as well.
Okay.
And anyone who has a library card at our library just uses their library card number to log into Libby. And they can get up to 20 books at a time. And they can put, I believe, I could be misspeaking here, but I believe they can also put 15 on hold. So they can have 20 checked out and have 15 on hold. You can have those books for up to 21 days, and then they will automatically return once that 21 days is up. And you can get almost anything. One downside to Libby is the popular titles. A lot of times it's a wait. Yeah. You know, you have to get on the waiting list. But audiobooks are also on Libby as well. So you can listen to books. A lot of people, I like to have an audiobook that I also have a physical copy of the book. So if I'm driving, you know, on a trip, I can listen to it. And then when I get there, I can actually read the physical book and kind of catch up where I am. Right. That's just something I like to do. You know, everybody has different preferences, but
certainly. And speaking of preferences, there's just something about having a book in your hand.
Same for me.
Yeah.
I will read on my phone or an iPad or you know, even a computer if it's, you know, the last resort for me. I prefer to have a book. I will even when I travel carry 4 or 5 books, even though they weigh more and are, you know, in the way and taking up space. I would rather have a physical book in my hand. And that's just my preference. There are some people that only want to read audiobooks and ebooks, you know, so it just depends. But the library pretty much has all of that. So you can, you know, get what you need or what you want, you know, from us generally.
Certainly. What's the busiest day of the week for the library?
Well, it's kind of hit or miss. You never know. I will say generally, this time of year, Saturdays and right after school, like from 3:30 to 5:30. Thursday evenings during the fall are not as busy because of sporting events that occur. Now, in the summer and in the spring, even late spring, Thursday evenings tend to get pretty busy. I will say with meetings and things, we're open till 8 on Thursdays. And so a lot of organizations will have meetings on Thursday evenings in our library. So sometimes it's busy for those types of things. Right. But I think it's funny because, you know, you think you can predict, oh, this Thursday it won't be busy, and then that night it'll be slammed. You just never know. But definitely right now, when kids get off the bus or get out of school until we close, it's a little busier downstairs. And then upstairs, which is kind of our adult section, it tends to be busier up there, I think. Kind of 11 to like mid-afternoon. A lot of people come there and work, you know, have meetings, things like that. So professionals or, you know, just somebody, you know, looking to have a spot for, you know, maybe they're traveling for the day or whatever, you know, can use our study rooms and things like that. So they'll be up there. Right now, as we speak, we have a grocery bingo happening. So it was busy in the computer classroom when I left the library today.
That's great. Now, do the libraries, the hours at the library, did they ever change or with the seasons, or are they the same all year round?
No, they're the same all year. Now, the last time we came, we did tell you that we were changing our hours a little bit. We still have those hours. So it's Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Fridays from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 in the afternoon, and then Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We cut some of those Friday hours, and we added to our Saturday, and we added to our mornings. We used to open at 9:30. Now we open at 9. And we used to close on Saturdays at noon. Now we close at 2. We did a survey of the community, and people wanted more Saturday hours. That was a big request, and us to open a little earlier. We would love to add another evening at some point, but adding hours to the library's schedule is more of a process with the state, and then, of course, scheduling of employees and things like that. So we would love to do that at some point, and that is a goal, and that is something that people have requested is one more night a week. So when we have the ability to open later another night, we are working on trying to figure that out.
Our guest on this weekend's 30 Minutes, we are talking with the director for the Martin Public Library, Katie Parr, and she is here telling us all about the library and telling us about a big event that is going to be kicking off next weekend on October the 7th, and it will run through November the 18th. This is an exhibit from the Smithsonian.
Yes.
How did you do this?
So I'm so excited about this. So Humanities Tennessee, which is a a group that is based in Nashville, and they provide grant funding for kind of adding to the quality of life of Tennesseans. I don't know. I'm probably totally butchering whatever their mission is, but that's kind of how I see it, right? Yeah. So they are connected with Smithsonian, and the Smithsonian has a program called Museums on Main Street.
Okay.
And so nationally, they tour like 2 exhibits a year. And so about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, we heard about this exhibit specifically, Voices and Votes, Democracy in America, and that it would be coming to Tennessee and that they were wanting applicants for host sites. Only 6 were chosen across the state. And so we are among the 6 and will be the second to last stop in the state for this exhibit. The next stop will be in Humboldt. Okay. So after it closes with us on the 18th of November, then it will open the next week in Humboldt at the African American History Museum there in Humboldt. So we're the only 2 spots in West Tennessee to see this exhibit.
Wow.
And we're very excited, and I feel lucky that we got it during election season. We don't have an election in Martin in November this year, but I just am excited that we got it during that time of year because, you know, it's a great time to talk about democracy.
Sure.
And it was a process to get accepted. We had to write a letter, and I have a committee, and we meet monthly. So UTM Libraries, Dr. Nordberg, he's one of our partners. The Weakley County Genealogy and Historical Society, they're partnering with us. West Tennessee PBS, Discovery Park of America, and the library were kind of the partnering agencies on this exhibit. The expense is very minimal. The only thing that we're required to pay for is the shipping of the exhibit from Columbia, where it currently is, to the library. So we did hire a moving company for that, and they'll be picking up the exhibit when it closes on Tuesday, October 3rd, and bringing it to Martin. The big thing that I'm a little nervous about is we have to set it up after that. But there are great instruction. It's Smithsonian, so clearly, you know, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So the committee will assemble the exhibit when we're closed on the 4th and the 5th, and then it'll be ready to open on the 7th, and we're going to have a little ribbon cutting ceremony that morning, right at 9. And it will be the museum, the exhibit will be housed upstairs in the library. So in that area, the adult area kind of upstairs, but it is open to everybody. Children, all ages are welcome to come and see the exhibit.
So you're going to have to set this up. You and your staff are going to be setting this up.
Myself, a couple of my staff members, and Dr. Nordberg, some people from the committee. We're keeping it, you know, the setup committee is probably about 10 people. There is there are instruction videos, and there's a lot of detail, you know, piece 1A goes into 1B and all of that. So the good thing about the exhibit is it is not chronological, so we can kind of set it up however we decide to do that, and however it best fits in our space. The committee did go and see it at Maury County Public Library in Columbia a few weeks ago, and so I got to actually physically see it, and I'd seen lots of pictures, but after that I was very excited, you know, for it to come. It's got several like TV screens, touch screens, you know, lots of interactive pieces, and that's wonderful. I love it. It really is like a Smithsonian museum right inside of our town. So I'm very excited.
Well, I learned something because I just assumed that the Smithsonian will be sending someone to
now,
set it up for you guys.
They did give us a contact. So, you know, I don't think he will come to the library, but if we need to call him, video chat with him, then we can do that. And, you know, that won't be a problem. And they've done a really good job. There are some instructional videos that we can also watch, you know, as we set it up or before. One thing that we've been working on right now is getting volunteers to be docents at the exhibit. So a docent is just someone who helps people who are attending the exhibit, you know, to learn more about the exhibit or answer questions. We are grateful that we've had a lot of community organizations let's say that they're going to help with this. So we've got the Genealogy Society. Like I said, they're our partners, but they're also going to help with that. Kiwanis is going to help. The Friends of the Library is going to help. Rotary Club is going to help. I mean, so many people are very excited about the Smithsonian coming to Martin. So we're very lucky that we've had a lot of volunteers. So there should be someone at all times that we're open that is kind of trained to answer questions and just welcome people. That way the library staff can attend to library business. I really didn't want this exhibit to interfere with patrons, using the library and the staff doing their day-to-day job for 6 whole weeks.
Sure.
So that was one of my biggest things when we first agreed to do this, and we were excited about it. I was like, okay, but we got to also make sure that the library can be the library, during this time as well, because 6 weeks is a long time, and you don't want people to, lose those services, during that time. So,
all right, what's the exhibit called again?
Voices and Votes: Democracy in America.
All right. So what will people see with this exhibit?
So there are 6 main pieces to the exhibit, 6 sections.
Okay.
One of them is titled what does it mean to be a citizen? And so, there's some information about all the way back to 1776 up to today. There are pieces about, of course, the founding of our country and why we decided to have the government system that we have. Mm-hmm. Of course, there are lots of pieces about voting, but there's also a section about protesting and how that, has changed over the years. And there are some really neat videos of, historical events that have happened throughout our country's history. The exhibit it's very well done, obviously, because it's the Smithsonian. But one thing that they encouraged us to do is to include a local portion to the exhibit. So we are working on a local piece. I've gotten some donations of some artifacts, old voting buttons, things like that. Yeah. And so I'm going to put those in some locking cases in the Tennessee room, which is right outside, right next door to where the exhibit will be. And so that will be kind of a part of the exhibit as well. And so that piece I'm very excited about. We're also having lots of programs throughout that 6 weeks. Not 172 like summer reading, but probably almost that many. Every Thursday evening and every Saturday there will be an event. Okay. And there will be speakers, some that are geared toward adults. There will be kids activities. PBS is going to do a kids day. We'll have some teen activities as well. So there should be something that everyone can plug into and enjoy.
Okay. Will there be maybe some school field trips for this thing?
Yes, absolutely. And also the Smithsonian, because they thought of everything, has sent some traveling trunks with the exhibit. And those trunks have games and lessons in them that can be really for any age. We have 2 UTM interns that are history students that are going to be taking those traveling trunks into the schools. Okay. And so they'll be bringing them to the high school for U.S. history, which is 11th grade, middle school's 8th grade U.S. history, and then maybe even some 4th and 5th grade lessons. And then we have also invited the schools to schedule field trips with us. We would love to have students come and visit the exhibit as well.
Awesome. So this is going to be October the 7th through November the 18th. And how large or what's the size of this exhibit?
So it's about, I could be misspeaking here, but I think it takes up about 200 square feet, which is maybe a little big. I don't know. It's not as large as I imagined it to be. Okay. I was a little concerned about the space, but when Paul and Melissa from Humanities Tennessee came and looked at our space in the beginning, they did that obviously to make sure we were good to have it. They said, "Oh, no concerns. It's going to fit here just fine." So I know they told me that, but I was still worried. But when we saw it at Maury County, I saw that it's going to fit just fine. It's going to be great. And so it's going to be in that space upstairs, if you've been in the library upstairs, between the Tennessee room and the genealogy room. So it's right behind the balcony, basically. So when you're driving up to the library, you see the balcony on the 2nd floor. It is going to be right behind that space. And there's a good bit of space there. We moved a table and some chairs. And so there's a good bit of space there. It shouldn't be an issue for people to get around and to be able to enjoy it just like they were at a museum.
All right. Are there some interactive aspects of this
Yes.
thing? Okay.
So there's several things that are touchscreen, and you can, watch videos. There are also some things that you can add to. So they like to hear other people's voting stories. And so there is, at the very end of the exhibit, there's a little kiosk that has people's stories from across the nation that have, visited this exhibit. And there's a portion there where they invite you to send in your story, and it could get chosen. Your voting story. Yeah. It could get chosen to be a part of the next state that the exhibit visits.
Why are you so excited about this exhibit, Katie?
Well, I mean, for me, I went to Washington, D.C. when I was in 5th grade and I haven't been since. Yeah. And I know a lot of people will never go and have never been. And I think that part of the mission of the Smithsonian is for those people that may or may not get to come to the Smithsonian, is that the Smithsonian is coming to you. And the library, of course, our mission is to bring as much as we can to the public for free, as we are able to. And so the fact that we're able to bring an exhibit of this caliber for almost no cost,
Yeah.
and no cost to the patrons, is so exciting to me. Also, I'm very excited to have this opportunity to be an exhibit host, and I'm hoping that it goes well and that we can apply again for another traveling Smithsonian exhibit, in the future.
Now, when you're looking for special exhibits to bring to the library, what do you look for?
Well, I know for me, because I've only been in this job for a year and a half, I was very leery at first to apply for this because I wasn't sure. I was like, ugh, am I allowed to do this? Yeah. But I am, the boss, sort of. And one thing I do is, we are very lucky at the library that people send us information.
Right.
So Eric Nordberg, who's the Dean of Libraries at UTM, he actually sent me this application, and he had hosted one of these exhibits in the past at another library in another state. And so he had done this before, and he was like, this is really a great opportunity. And that, I will help you and we will help. So he's been a great part of our committee. And so I really think when I look for things like this, the first thing that I kind of in my head question is, like I said earlier, is this going to affect the patron's ability to access the library?
Right.
Is this going to affect our staff in a negative way? Because obviously, that's top of my mind.
Sure.
I don't want the staff to feel like they're spread too thin, or, that their expectations are, too much during this time. Because they do so much.
Sure.
I mean, we have so many fabulous things that happen at the library every day, and I don't need to be there for any of it. I mean, they've got it. They do such a good job.
They've got it covered.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I certainly don't want to impede on any of that. So whenever I'm looking at things that we have the opportunity to host, I always ask that question. We did have some local artists have exhibits at our library, and I'm interested in doing that more. So I would love for people to reach out if they're an artist or, have some kind of art that they would like to display. After the Smithsonian closes, I'd like to keep that exhibit space kind of filled with local art. And then we also, UTM, we've had exhibits with them before. Dr. Sarah Haig, who's an art instructor there, her students have done an exhibit upstairs at the library for the past 2 years, and that's been really successful. So obviously, I want to check how much it's going to cost us.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that it's not going to impede on the library, offering its regular services.
So the Smithsonian exhibit is going to be open October the 7th through November the 18th. And again, it's called
Voices and Votes, Democracy in America.
All right. Fantastic. I know you're very excited about that. I'm looking forward to checking it out, because the Smithsonian, anything they do really is just top notch.
Absolutely. And I just can't wait for it to get here, and for all of the citizens, not just of Weakley County, anyone who wants to come, please, is welcome. And just during library hours, it's free. So anytime we're open, you can come visit.
Katie, I'll give you the last word on what you want people to know about the Martin Public Library and this exhibit that's going to be coming up.
Sure. First of all, we are here for our patrons, and our patrons are anyone who walk in our doors. You don't have to have a library card to be considered a patron. So if you have, an idea for a program you would like to run, if you can make a craft and you would like to share that, we would love for you to come reach out. If you want us to offer something and you're interested in it, please come and visit the library and tell us about it. And for the exhibit, I just hope we have lots and lots of people that come, because I just think it's a great opportunity, and does never happened before, so hopefully it'll happen again. But
all right, that sounds great. The library, of course, more than just books.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have hotspots. We have laptops for checkout. We have a makerspace where people can come and make and create things. We have an event center. We have a sound and recording studio. So way more than books.
Absolutely. Katie, always great to see you, and you always have such great information for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Steve.
Certainly. That is Katie Parr. She is the director for the Martin Public Library. Don't forget, the Smithsonian exhibit will be open October the 7th through November the 18th at the Martin Public Library. And if they want more information, they can go to your website.
Absolutely. And our Facebook as well. We post pretty well daily on Facebook, so that's a good spot. And Instagram. Those are good spots. And just Martin Public Library. That's all you have to look up on Facebook and Instagram to find us.
All right. That's Katie Parr. She has been our guest on this weekend's 30 Minutes, and I'm Steve James, pre-recorded.